We knew before the game that it was a hard place, and it was really important to defend properly. We expected to defend a bit higher. It wasn't possible during especially the second half after scoring the first goal. But we defended well with a good character, and at the end we are happy.
So that result leaves Sunderland in 4th place in the Premier League table, and that result at Villa today means that Fulham haven't gone above them, so they stay 4th this afternoon. That full interview with Regis Labrise is on BBC Sounds. Search Sunderland AFC and you'll find the podcast feed. You can of course do the same Newcastle-wise after the match today. You'll get post-match reaction from Eddie Howe, very possibly a player or two as well. Now, as the afternoon progresses, Ander will be animated as ever as he watches the match, and don't be surprised if he's also monitoring what's happening the other side of the Atlantic, although it's not maybe going to be as nervy as we predicted in terms of the Ryder Cup. The European captain Luke Donald has praised the way that his players have dealt with the heckling from the US crowd across the first 2 days of competition, but Europe of course have opened up a big 7-point lead heading into the final day of singles. Gets underway around about 5 o'clock our time, by the way. And yesterday, well, Rory McIlroy was particularly targeted by abuse. A number of times he stopped to reset when heckled while standing over the ball.
It was loud, it was raucous. You know, what I consider crossing line is personal insults and making sounds, you know, when they're trying to hit on their backswings or very close to when they're trying to go into their routines. That did happen a little bit. It's happened to other Ryder Cups too. Something we prepared for, and I can see, I think how well they've dealt with it.
So we'll keep you updated through the afternoon as well. It'll go on late into the evening, although Europe will be looking to claim a victory sooner rather than later. You're not going to be watching it on your phone during the match, are you, Ando? No, behave yourself.
No, I don't think so. Don't think I can get it, Pridey.
I'll get it on mine, and you can just have a sneaky look now and again, okay?
Well,
but don't tell Razor.
No.
All right.
No. Well, we got that wrong, didn't we? When we had this chat about who'd win and what they would win by.
We said it would be close, didn't
yeah,
we? We both agreed. We both said Europe.
We did say Europe, but we didn't think it'd be.
And we both fancied Tommy Fleetwood to hold the winning pot as well.
Yeah.
So maybe that
may still happen.
Maybe the Americans will win all 12 singles.
But that'd make it interesting.
I can't see it. But we'll keep an eye on that this afternoon. In Rugby Union, England have won the World Cup, and the celebrations have continued today. They've been at Battersea Power Station of all places for a reception. They beat Canada 33-13 at Twickenham, so that was the first time they've lifted the trophy since 2014. And one of England's try scorers, Loch Abbey Ward, who went to Northumbria University, so we're claiming her. She spoke to the BBC's Sonia McLaughlin.
Honestly, as soon as the whistle went, I just burst into tears. It's truly been the most special day. A home crowd, a sold out Twickenham. The support throughout the tournament has been unbelievable. We felt it here today. You could hear it. It's just been electric, and in front of friends, families, it's been amazing. Different tournament. This is a new team. This was a new chapter of women's rugby, and it wasn't about right and wrongs, it was about what this team could do, and I think today was such a phenomenal show of rugby from both sides. You know, the support, absolutely everything about today, and this was our little moment.
Yeah, they were hot favourites, but still, nonetheless, quite an achievement by England. And of course, it all started, didn't it, at the Stadium of Light for their first game. Seems like ages ago now, but it ended the way that all England fans wanted it to. Now, I was at Kingston Park on Friday night to watch the Newcastle Red Bulls kicking off their Premier League campaign with a 39-17 defeat by Saracens. It was a sellout crowd at Kingston Park on Friday evening. It was quite an atmosphere. You could certainly sense a change in the level of optimism there, even though it didn't go particularly well for them on Friday night. Director of Rugby Steve Diamond was left a bit frustrated at full time.
What's happened around the place is fantastic, and you can see tonight, but we've got to get our basics right. We need to be more cohesive and a bit more physical. I think the second half Sarries were taking us off the ball legally and taking the ball with them. So I think we had the ball 42 times and we lost it 30. So we're not going to compete if they're the stats. So a bit more graft on the training paddock, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be, and I'm sure results will improve for the Red Bulls. Cricket-wise, well, it's going to be second division county championship cricket for Durham next season after they lost to Yorkshire at Headingley yesterday in a game that ended yesterday. Lots of twists and turns. It looked like at one point they might stay up because of the fact that Hampshire lost, but then they couldn't see it out yesterday. Hugely disappointing for Durham fans. Here's their head coach Ryan Campbell.
It's just a total capitulation. Unfortunately, it's happened a few times this year. Pressure went on and our blokes couldn't stop it. So obviously there's a room full of gutted people. You know, we were handed a lifeline and we didn't take it. There was a very defensive mindset of just trying to get through, and what happens is if you lose a couple of wickets, you haven't gone anywhere. And, you know, the facts are we were 120 odd behind when we started and we needed to get rid of that as quick as we could. And you know, that takes courage to back your skills and ability, and you know, that's something we've always done. But you know, like I say, today was one of those days that will go down in probably Durham's folklore of bloody hanging our heads in shame, and you know, we're going to have to rebuild and come back bigger and better next year.
Hopefully they do come back stronger. Ryan Campbell did sign an extension to his deal, so he's staying to oversee that, hopefully, return to the top flight of English county cricket. Before I hand you back to Razor and Andrew, let me just bring you a bit of reaction to some of the local football yesterday, the non-league football in the National League. Great win for Gateshead, 2-1 at Braintree Town, and a much needed win as well. Here's their manager Alan Armstrong.
You've got to give the lads credit. They seem to be getting loads of challenges, these kids, at this moment in time, which is difficult, but they've stood up today and what a result for them. We needed the win, that's a certainty, and I think it's probably because the lads, when you're 2-0 up, you forget how to win, you forget to see the game through, and that's the hardest thing when you're on a little bad run. But you've got to give them credit, and credit to the fans, because they never shut up during the game. I could feel the nerves from them in the last 5 minutes, but again, the fans travelling all this way to watch it, and after the form we've had, you've got to give them massive credit.
In the FA Cup third qualifying round, there were defeats for Morpeth and Dunstan at home, but South Shields, they won. They carried their league form into the cup. They beat Chorley 4-1. Here's their boss, Ian Watson.
I think the boys are incredible. We ran a lot, we worked really hard, and we moved the ball really well, and we created a lot of chances. Like the scoreline says 4-1, but I actually think it could have looked a little bit better for us, to be honest.
Into Monday's draw, the standard question you probably expect. Any preference?
Nah, none at all. To be honest, it's not really something I think about, even home or away. Like, it doesn't bother me. Just whoever comes in front of us, and we'll have a game plan and we'll attack the game and it'll look like us.
Ian Watson speaking to Mark Carruthers there. A couple of quick things to tell you about as well. They're 2 from 2 so far. The Newcastle Eagles, the new basketball season. They beat Cheshire Phoenix on Friday night, and they're away at Sheffield Sharks this afternoon. So we'll keep you updated as to what's going on there. And in the ice hockey today in the Scottish National League, the Whitley Warriors are at home to the Paisley Pirates. So we'll be back at half time, so if you'd like to send us a message, I'd love to be able to read some out both at half time and at full time. Let me give you the numbers that you need. You can text us on 81333 or WhatsApp us on 08000 321 333. In either case, please start your message with the letters BBC. Just over 20 minutes to kick off here at St James's Park, so Razor and Ando will take you up to kick off next.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
This morning I want to know, what have you done to annoy your siblings? Paula in Sunderland.
I was due to be born on the 20th of January, and so of course, being annoying, I came out on the 24th of December and spoilt his final Christmas as the single person in the family.
So hang on a second, you popped out a month early pretty much just to ruin his final Christmas as the kind of golden child and the only one there?
Absolutely.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
Weekdays from 6. Just ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Newcastle.
Total Sport North East.
Live from St James's Park.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Newcastle versus Arsenal, live right here from 4:30, BBC Radio Newcastle and the BBC Sounds app to listen to the Newcastle United perspective. Confirmation that it finished Aston Villa 3, Fulham 1 earlier. That's Villa's first win in the Premier League this season, brings them level on points with Newcastle. 6 so far. Villa have obviously completed their 6th match. John Anderson, I know that you don't really like the early Premier League tables, but I think in the modern game, the digital world that we're in, you can't escape the standings even after one match. There's one more Premier League fixture after this before the October international break. You would obviously want them to be a bit further up the league by the time they go on a 2-week break.
Yeah, you would.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
15th going into this one.
Yeah, you would like to win today. All of a sudden, Liverpool getting beaten yesterday evening gives an incentive to Arsenal as well. All of a sudden they win, they're only 3 points behind them. But look, it got to concentrate more on us. We need to start winning games. We haven't been winning enough games in the league this season. Haven't been scoring enough goals. Something that we spoke to Chris Waff about earlier on. But this won't be easy today. There's always a little bit of niggle about this one as well. It goes back a spell. But this is the type of game against a side like Arsenal that could get your season up and running. You get a result here, you play well, all of a sudden it kickstarts you. It gives you that kickstart, gives you that belief. I don't think there's a shortage of belief. I think the performance the other night against Bradford, okay, you've got to take into consideration the opposition, but we scored 4, could have and should have scored an awful lot more. Bradford won again yesterday. They're top of their table. I thought the application and the performance was excellent, and we're going to have to do exactly the same again today.
A reminder of the Newcastle United team as the players continue their preparations for the match in the warm-up. Newcastle in front of the Gallagher end, Arsenal away to the left-hand side at the Leazes end. Pope, Chow, Botman, Byrne, Murphy, Bruno, Tonali, Livramento, Gordon, Joelinton, Baltamada. It's 6 changes from Bradford the other night, and we still can't agree or work out who's going to play where. I know you have reservations, don't you, about Joelinton maybe being on the left if it's a 3-4-3. And if it's not, what role does that mean for Gordon with the way Baltamada plays? No Lewis Hall in the squad today, we're not sure why, but you've got another fullback in Trippier on the bench and Kraft, so they wouldn't surely play Byrne at left back in a 4. Lots of questions. We'll get the answer to them in about 15 minutes time, but trying to interpret what Eddie Howe has asked the players to do before the match starts isn't particularly easy today.
Look, we said this. I would hate to be second guessing what Eddie Howe was going to do. I didn't know if he was going to go with a 3, if he was going to go with a 4, who he would play, who he wouldn't play. He's obviously picked this side because he believes this is the best side to go and get a result against Arsenal. Joelinton scored 2 the other night, so it'd be interesting to see where he actually plays. Just been speaking off air there. Would he play Gordon off Baltamada? So basically play as a 10, but I just think Baltamada comes too deep to do that. He doesn't stay as an out-and-out centre forward that you can get in and around. He likes to come deep, he likes to get the ball, he likes to come and make himself available. So it'll be interesting to see how they line up. I mean, as you say, less than 15 minutes to go before kick-off. We'll find out soon enough.
Arsenal, they've started this season pretty well. 3 wins, a draw and a defeat in the Premier League so far. They got the draw in injury time with Manchester City last weekend, courtesy of a goal from Gabriel Martinelli, who's on the bench today. Their only defeat was by Liverpool away from home. How close are Arsenal to winning the Premier League, do you think?
Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah,
honestly don't know. I mean, Liverpool top of the table at this moment in time, but you would say they haven't been great this season. They haven't hit form. They haven't got into their stride. Watched Arsenal last week against Manchester City, and watched them at Anfield actually, and I thought they were very cautious with the way they played. It was as if they didn't have the belief at Anfield that they could go to Anfield and win. It was, okay, let's not get beat, and then Szoboszlai comes out with a wonder free kick. It's an absolutely fabulous free kick. Last week against Manchester City, I thought first half was exactly the same against Manchester City. I think Manchester City caught them caught them cold actually, because they didn't expect City to come and set up the way that they did. You know, how often do you see a Manchester City side come and sit behind the ball and park the bus, so to speak, and say, come and break us down, and it took them to the 95th minute to be able to do that. So the answer to your question, how close are they to winning the Premier League? I'll probably tell you more after seeing them today.
As good as they are, they have struggled at St James's Park. Newcastle, as we mentioned earlier, have won their last 3 home games against Arsenal, and Mikel Arteta, the Arsenal boss, says not just the way Eddie Howe's team goes about it, it's the Newcastle fans that help make this place a difficult destination for any away team.
I think it's one of the best football atmosphere in this country. As a player, as a fan, as a coach, you want to live in this atmosphere. They play every single ball with you. It's electric. There is so much support of the one team, one city. I think that makes it a different as well. And to play as an opposition as well is such a challenge and opportunity at the same time. So great atmosphere to play. At the end, we know. I always praise the work that Eddie and the coaching staff have done there, and the way they have managed to create such an atmosphere, especially at home as well, and a very clear identity of playing football, and they make it really difficult. And we know the test. We know that we're going to have to be much more efficient than we've been lately.
Mikel Arteta on Newcastle and St James's Park. Have they got under Arteta's skin? Probably. Have they got under Arsenal's skin? You'd say probably as well in recent meetings, home and away.
I think they've got the Indian sign over them, because I don't think Arteta really knows how to work out how we play. He may, I probably should rephrase that. He knows how we play. He's just found it difficult to find an answer to combat it. You know, I think it showed last season when we played them here. We were intense, we were strong, we put Arsenal under all sorts of pressure, and they couldn't handle the physicality and the pace at which we played at. Now, in order to get a result today, I think that's the way we've got to play again. You know, we're at our very best when we're like that. As you well know, Razor, when we play like that, when we play with that intensity and that physicality, we'll give anybody a game. But you've got to be at it, and I don't think Arteta has worked out how to combat that, and hopefully he hasn't worked out how to combat it today either.
Recent encounters have been feisty, sometimes they've been a bit controversial, there's been plenty to them, but Eddie Howe knows that suits Newcastle.
I think we play better when there is that edge in our game. I say that many times. I say that to the players themselves. If we're not in that sweet spot of aggression and competitiveness, we don't play with the same way. I think we have players that really respond to that type of game. Of course, there's a balance depending on what style of game we're in. We need that technical composure and that creativity that you saw against Bradford midweek, which helped our performance in a different way. So I'd like to think we can navigate our way through a game and utilise all the skills we have in our psychological framework to help us win. There's things we do against every team tactically. Every game is so different. But I think Arsenal are slightly different this year tactically when I watch them play. And that's credit to Mikel, because he'll evolve his team every season, every summer. He's obviously got some new players in there as well. But yeah, of course there's things we look at, and there's things in our armoury that we will utilise. But really, it's against any team. Every game is new. Yeah, we've got to find our way this season. We've got to find our way to be consistent, score goals and try and win games. Yes, we respect our opponents, but we go into every game desperate to win. I've seen that attitude from the players this season. We know we need to get our Premier League form up and running. You know, it's early in the season, but we don't want to become detached from any group. So we're desperate to do well.
Total Sport Northeast.
Matthew Raisbeck and black and white legend John Anderson.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Well, Lando, they certainly have delivered time after time in the big matches, haven't they? Often those games have come when Newcastle haven't been always in great form. They scored a few goals the other night, which I'm sure gave everybody a boost, but there's a big difference between playing Bradford in the Cup and Arsenal in the Premier League. But sometimes they have got big game players, haven't they? You look at the team, look at the squad, and they've always stepped up.
Yeah, they've got players who rise to the occasion, who enjoy these battles against the so-called bigger sides, so-called better sides, you know, and to a man, as we see in last season, they all stepped up to the mark when it was needed, when they needed to dig out a result, when they needed to go and get a result. And there was nothing lucky about the results that they got. You know, they deserved to win the games that they won against the big sides because of the way that they played. They played with an intensity, they played with a pace, they played with a strength, you know, a physicality that the opposition found very, very difficult to cope with. And as I said to you earlier on, Razor, when we do that, when we play with that ferocity, with that intensity, we're a match for anybody, not just in this league, but a match for anybody at all. You know, I think we showed that against Barcelona in the first half of the Champions League game. Okay, Arsenal or Barcelona are a different proposition because of the way that they keep the ball and one thing and another. Then we see in that second half we couldn't get the ball off them. But the Premier League is built about on pace. It's built about physicality. You know, we see it week in, week out. It doesn't matter who you're playing. That physicality is always there, and you've got to match that. You know, and we've been able to do that over the seasons, and we've been very, very good at it. In fact, we've been better than most are doing it, but you just feel we're going to have to be at our very best today.
Newcastle up against Arsenal and the visitors with lots of top class players. Bukayo Saka, who captains Arsenal today, he's had a couple of injury problems, but he's just so good. Declan Rice in midfield, now with Eberechi Eze and Martin Zubamendi, two top players, both of whom were brought in for big money this summer. And then they spent even more on Victor Gyökeres, £64 million from Sporting Lisbon. What do you make of Gyökeres? Because for a long time Arsenal were linked to Alexander Isak. Many might have felt that he would have gone there rather than Liverpool, but they went for Gyökeres. Bit more physical.
I haven't seen enough of them, Razors. I think they took a gamble. Look, they're not the only ones that have taken gambles on centre forwards this season. You know, there's other sides who've taken gambles, and you hope that those gambles pay off. The problem is with centre forwards is it's always going to be an expensive gamble. If it doesn't pay off, you end up paying the penalty. Up to now, has Gyökeres paid off? You would say no. You know, but as I said, haven't really seen enough of him to give a really informed opinion on him.
Interesting that both clubs spent big money on centre forwards this summer. Arsenal playing with Kai Havertz for a lot of last season. He's injured, as is Gabriel Jesus. They're also without Noni Madueke and Piero Hincapié, the defender they signed in the summer. So they have a few out, Arsenal, but Gyökeres leading the line. And the team is this: Raya in goal, Timber, Mosquera, Gabriel Calafiori at the back, Zubimendi, Rice and Eze, Saka, Gyökeres and Trossard. Arsenal's bench: Kepa, Lewis Skelly, White, Odegaard, Norgard, Saliba, Marino, Martinelli and Dowman. Newcastle United: Pope in goal, Chow, Botman, Byrne, Murphy, Bruno, Tanali, Livramento, Gordon, Voltemada, Joelinton. We will see exactly how they arrange themselves, how they line up when they come out for the kick-off in just a few minutes' time. United's bench: Ramsdale, the former Arsenal goalkeeper, Trippier, Lascelles, Barnes, Kraft, Osula, Elanga, Willock and Miley. From the other night in the League Cup against Bradford City, Eddie Howe has made 6 changes to his starting 11. It includes the return of Sandro Tonali in midfield. He's making his 50th Premier League appearance today, Tonali. He was given a rest on Wednesday night.
Sandro's got a really great ability to play and play in the way that he does, with the running and the intensity and the physicality that he plays with, and then recover quite quickly and then be able to do it and go again. He's at an age where he can do that at the moment. I think it was really impressive at Bournemouth because It was a really tough, not just physical ask, but mental ask after Barcelona, but I thought he played really well again. It was nice to be able to give him that rest this week, and hopefully he'll benefit.
How did Superman?
Bruno and Joe Linton got the rest under at Bournemouth. Tonali got some against Bradford, so he's been able to give his three midfielders 90 minutes off.
Yeah, look, we know what his strongest midfield is, and what he feels his strongest midfield is, and that's Joe Linton, Tonali and Guimaraes. You know, the teams don't like playing against them because of the physicality that they've got. They're in your face, they make life difficult for you, so that's why it's going to be interesting to see how they line up, to see what they actually do, how they go about it, to see where Joe Linton plays. You know that Tonali and Guimaraes will play in that central role, just about where Joe Linton. We'll find out in a few minutes.
Yeah, we will. They're lining up in the tunnel. Bruno's got his hands on the shoulders of a young mascot, and now they're on their way. Newcastle United and Arsenal, led out by the referee Jared Gillett, the Australian. Last visit to St James's Park was for the win over Nottingham Forest, which was in February, 4-3 that day. That was an exciting game. They scored 4 times in 11 minutes, didn't they, Newcastle, to turn that one around. So it was a crazy match.
Oh, it was an unbelievable match, yeah, but you don't want it to be that crazy today.
Well, last season the Arsenal home league game was 1-0, the early Isak header, and
it was a great header as well, wasn't it?
A great cross from Gordon. And they weren't really tested that much, and even in the second leg of the semi-final in February, when Jacob Murphy scored and Gordon scored 2-0 on the night, 4-0 on aggregate, it was comfortable. Arsenal are a great team, but Newcastle have definitely had the better of it in recent times. Let's find out how today's game goes here on BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds. So if you want to listen to us on your smart speaker, if you have one, just ask it to play BBC Radio Newcastle. Assistant referees today, Ian Hussin and Scott Ledger. Anthony Taylor's the fourth official. VAR, Darren England, assisted by Steve Meredith. And Newcastle have shaken hands with the Arsenal players, who now greet the team of officials across the halfway line. The branding is now taken off the pitch. There was a Seller and Adidas flag in the centre circle, two of Newcastle's main commercial partners. There's a Premier League board with the two club crests on that's now being dismantled and taken off the pitch as the players for United remove their black training jackets. Anthony Gordon last to do so, with a black hairband on his flowing blonde locks. He now runs his fingers through his hair, Gordon. He's picked up a water bottle.
I'll have to get one of them.
It's a good look. It's in.
On him, maybe, yeah.
Longer hair. I think you can pull that off.
Yeah.
He's just standing on the left-hand side, just looking out across the pitch as he takes a swig from the water bottle, Gordon. We wonder where Joe Linton will play. We also wonder where Gordon will play today.
Yeah.
Now sprints into the middle to join his teammates. They'll huddle together after Bruno and Saka do the coin toss. Black and white stripes, black shorts and socks. Pope in blue. And Arsenal with the red and white shirts. The body of the shirt is red, the sleeves are white shorts, red socks, and goalkeeper Raya all in yellow.
It's going to have a feel of the ball to make sure it's round.
That was the chant last season, wasn't it? It was after the first leg of the semi-final. Mikel Arteta, it must be the ball, because he commented on how the League Cup balls were different to the Premier League balls. What a load of rubbish. It's definitely not just the ball. Bruno's won the toss. Newcastle will shoot up to the Leazes end in the first half. I'm sure you know by now, but from where we watch the match, that is from right to left. Jared Gillett, the referee, is ready. Arsenal step away from their huddle. Newcastle United, this is is a big day because they need another Premier League victory. They've only won one this season in the 5 matches they've played so far. And we're looking at them lining up. And Livramento's on the right, Dan Burns on the left. And that looks like a 4 at the moment. We've now kicked off through Arsenal's Eberechi Eze, but they've done it too early for the referee's liking. I don't know if they're going to switch and do something different, Ando, once the ball's properly in play. But they've got Byrne at left back in a 4 from the kickoff. We are underway now. Long ball forward from Arsenal. Malik Chow tried to let it run, couldn't, has to clear it, otherwise it would have been a corner. Calafiori on halfway. Back to Gabriel. BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds at St James's Park. An increasingly now cloudy afternoon with the floodlights on. Arsenal forward through Raya. 45 seconds played. Maybe they have gone.
They have gone
4-3-3, or at least they've started that way.
It looks that way. Dan Burn playing at left back.
Back to Nick Pope. And left-footed, the goalkeeper sends it over halfway. Timber for Arsenal with the header. And it lands at the feet of Saka. Joelinton with a pretty rough challenge. Free kick on the right, 35 yards out. They were almost about to take it quickly through Zubimendi up the line to Timber. But they've decided not to. Some Arsenal complaints about the ferocity of that challenge, including from Mikel Arteta, who's straight out to the fourth official, as is Newcastle coach Jason Tindall. 90 seconds played in a noisy St James's Park. Rice, who takes so many of their set pieces from this near touchline. Newcastle just at the edge of the D. Rice curls it towards the penalty spot. It's a header connected with by Gyökeres straight into the hands of Pope. Not a lot of power in the header though.
Poor header, wasn't it? It was a good ball played into a good area. Just flicked the head at it, doesn't he?
Botman to Tonali, then pushed up to Joelinton, back to Tonali. He's got Eze at his shoulder, looking for Voltemada. Laid off towards Bruno, but intercepted by Gyökeres for Arsenal. And Trossard playing on the left of the attack, loses to Jacob Murphy, but then just recovers to push it into the feet of Declan Rice. Forwards towards Trossard, intercepted by Livramento, and now Bruno, surrounded by red shirts. In the middle, finds Chow. Gordon comes short. Botman up to Voltemada. Nicely taken. Laid off to Tonali. Murphy running through the middle. But the space is on the right-hand side for Livramento. In Arsenal territory. Foot on the ball. Inside to Bruno. And they go back to Botman. Furthest outfield player back on the centre spot. Big Dan Burn. It seems he's at left back today. Has pushed up. Gives the ball back to Botman. Across halfway to Chow. Chow's third Newcastle start. Joelinton tried to help it round the corner for Tonali. It's blocked, but they still have it now. Tonali on the ball again. Away from Eze, then to Byrne, and now Botman. Newcastle with some possession here, 0-0 in the 4th minute.
Good
Botman,
ball.
good switch on the diagonal, chested down by Jacob Murphy. Up to the feet of Voltemada. Laid off back out wide right to Murphy. Now he needs to get into the middle. The cross didn't come because Calafiori's challenge has turned the ball out for a throw in line with the Arsenal box to our left-hand side. Livramento preparing one of his long throws. Voltemada at the back of the penalty area. Chow on the 18-yard line. Byrne and Botman are beyond the front post, the near post from Livramento's perspective. So they've got players to flick on and then runners coming from further back. Botman helps it forwards. It's gathered by David Raya. Huge overarm throw. Nick Pope leaves his penalty box. And lifts it away and out close to the halfway line. Newcastle 0, Arsenal 0.
Good goalkeeping actually. His start position was good. Raya tried to go long early. Got some distance on the throw.
Zubimendi back to Gabriel, and now David Raya. Arsenal goalkeeper from the edge of the penalty area. It's high and long and dropping onto the head of Malik Chow, who gets it away. Joelinton tries to flick on. Zubimendi, the Spanish midfielder, out to this near side, and Timber, the fullback. Dangerous cross, flicked away by Byrne, brought down by Eza.
Good save.
With a huge save.
Good save.
Only 5 minutes played, but Nick Pope called into action early to divert Eza's left-footed shot just past the post when it seemed as though Arsenal were going to take the lead.
Tell you what, that's a top save. That's a strong hand he's got to that, because Eza's hit that into the ground. Ooh, it's a good stop.
And his long arms stretched out, and Pope with a gloved hand turning it round the post on the near side. Arsenal corner, huge opportunity. Eza stands at the edge of the area now. 60 million signing from Crystal Palace at the end of the transfer window, scored the other night, almost put Arsenal ahead here. The corner clipped in by Saka into the 6-yard box. Pope palms it away. Tonali pushes it clear. Bruno challenges. Gordon's header in midfield. Trossard back into his own half to Zubimendi. Raya's out of his penalty box. He gets the back pass and sends it away again. Livramento watching. Header won there by Calafiori, and Arsenal still have it in the Newcastle half. They've made, probably from their point of view, a decent start. Saka inside to Timber. Nice 1-2. Timber looking for Gyökeres on the turn in the box. Sven Botman was strong, stood up and blocked it. Now Jacob Murphy knocks it one side and goes the other, looking for Voltemada on halfway after getting away from two Arsenal players. But the ball inside is recovered by the visitors. 7th minute.
It's a lively start.
I was just about to use those exact words. Crowder up for it. Arsenal look up for it as well. Here's Saka trying to get the better of Burns. Saka into the penalty area. Pope catches his cross by the near post.
Yeah, it's been a lively start. I don't get playing Dan Burn at left back. I really don't.
It's a risk. It's not that he hasn't played there before, but he hasn't done it regularly for 2 years. And there are full-backs on the bench.
Yeah.
But there's no Lewis Hall today, and we've not been told why. He played an hour against Bradford the other night and started at Bournemouth last Sunday. 0-0. Back to Raya. Voltemada, the only Newcastle player in the box, standing off the goalkeeper, who goes for the long kick up the pitch. Botman with Gyökeres, and Gyökeres told to get up by referee Jared Gillett after a tussle over on the far side, and Botman comes away with the ball.
In that.
Now Sven Botman on the left side of Newcastle's defence, back in his starting position, in possession. Over to Chow, walks forwards, square to Botman. Now Byrne, Gordon up the line. Burns ball over the top. Gordon trying to chase after it. It stayed in play. Gordon battling with Timber. Good recovery by the Arsenal fullback, who passes it into midfield to Eza, and now Zubimendi, laid off by Trossard. One-touch football. Looks very nice. Attractive play by Mikel Arteta's team, and they have it next to the centre circle with Declan Rice. 0-0. Rice foot on the ball, back to Mosquera, tall centre-back, brought in from Valencia this summer. Slim build for a centre-back. Mosquera back to his keeper, and now Rice over to Mosquera again, who comes forwards. Zubimendi's dropped into the centre, deep central midfield to receive it, back to Gabriel from Newcastle, without the ball for much of the opening 9 minutes here on BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds. And they've played it square, Arsenal, and now they chip it long. Mosquera, but that's fine. Nick Pope comes to the side of the penalty area to collect the ball. Picks it up, rolls it to Sven Botman. Bruno comes short. Chow in the penalty box, gets it back to Pope, over to Botman on the near side. Byrne just ahead of him. clipped up by Botman towards Voltemada, who ducks out of the way, and Gordon tries to get on the ball, which just kept going, and Arsenal play it forwards but straight to Byrne, and now Nick Voltemada a chance to run into the penalty area. He's laid it off to Gordon tackled by Rice, but he's got it back. Now Byrne up from fullback, stands up the cross, half cleared by Calafiori, brought down by Murphy, edge of the penalty area, far side. Jacob Murphy's cross, Byrne trying to get on the end of it, it's a corner, headed behind by Timber, under pressure from Big Dan Byrne. Newcastle, better. Corner kick on the right.
It's better. He was offside.
Byrne didn't really compete for the ball, he was there, right at Timber's back. Definitely out of the defender, but Byrne offside after the ball was played in from Murphy. Corner kick for Newcastle United. Sent in by Tonali. Chow, downward header. Comfortable for Raya. Quick throw, Livramento across to intercept. Before Eza got on the end of it. Back to Pope, who takes a touch, lifts it away, but it's straight back to Arsenal and Timber. 0-0. Joelinton doesn't give Zubamendi a second. He has to play it back straight away to Mosquera, and now they're out from defence and into midfield with Trossard. He's got Tonali at his back, and then almost ran into trouble. And Tonali's won it, and now Voltemada for Gordon, edge of the area, laid off for Joelinton, forced away from goal, but they still have it. Bruno brings in Livramento in the corner, wins the corner kick after his cross is diverted behind.
Yeah, Arsenal trying to play out in the back again, give it away. Dangerous game, especially when black and white shirts are swarming all over you.
Nick Pope with one big save already, not much at the other end, but a couple of good positions there. United, 2 attacks in the last couple of minutes, and 2 corner kicks is the second of them. Tonali's outswinger, Chow again the target, it just missed him. Gordon retrieves 30 yards from goal, and it comes back in, a curling cross from Gordon, headed behind by Rice.
Decent ball played in.
Tonali to deliver once again. Murphy behind him, back down the line. Livramento, Gordon edge of the box. Arsenal everybody back, only Eza that isn't in the penalty area. He's just keeping an eye on Murphy. Referee watching from the 18-yard line. Tonali delivers again. Chow and Byrne go for the ball, and it's another corner. Last touch up an Arsenal player, and it's come out on the near side this time. Newcastle's left.
Yeah, it's causing Arsenal problems, isn't it? I mean, Arsenal aren't the smallest side in the world, but we're absolutely huge.
Byrne and Voltemada are standing in front of the goalkeeper. Raya is only 6
dwarf
foot,
of them as well.
And you've got 6'6" and 6'7" there. If the ball is right, this could be good. Tonali's delivery, Raya pushes it away. Got back on his line to clear. Livramento now scoops it up the line for Bruno from halfway. Bruno dispossessed. It's Newcastle losing possession quite cheaply. Arsenal looking for Saka. Chow gets his body in the way. Oh, and the back pass. Gyökeres under the challenge of Pope. It's going to be a penalty. Penalty for Arsenal. Jared Gillett points to the spot. Newcastle dealt with the first ball, but then it went back, and Gyökeres ran onto it. In a flash he was there, away from Nick Pope. He was heading away from goal. The ball went away from goal, but Jared Gillett says penalty. VAR will need to take a look, whatever, and there's going to be a card. It was a genuine attempt to play the ball though, so surely it's going to be a yellow under the double jeopardy law, but Arsenal awarded a penalty after 14 minutes, 0-0 at St James's Park. Huge moment. VAR having a proper check now on the challenge as Newcastle, number of players, go to the referee to question the decision. Did Pope get man or ball?
It's a poor back pass, isn't it? Murphy plays it. What do you think?
He's come out to get it. Gets a toe on the ball first, though, doesn't he? And then catches Gyökeres. That might be what they're looking at, but we're not hearing the VAR conversation. What about you? Could it be overturned?
Yeah, I think it could be.
Well, he might have got a toe on the ball, and Jared Gillett's told to go and look at the monitor, the referee review area on the far side of the pitch. This might be about to be overturned. He had a couple of seconds to think about it. At such speed, it's difficult. The ball's gone.
I tell you what, if it's against you,
yeah.
But if that's fight, you're shouting penalty all day long, aren't you?
Yeah, everyone would be, because there's contact between Pope and Gyökeres. It's just whether he touches the ball first.
But what I'm saying is, if that's at the other end, you're shouting that's a nailed-on penalty.
Absolutely. But
I think this will be overturned.
That'll be why Darren England, the VAR's told Jared Gillett to go and have a look, because he's saying he's surrounded by players. There's about 3 or 4.
His knee catches him
from each team. But does he get? Again, it's probably about the ball first.
His knee catches him, though.
Jared Gillett still taking a look, still communicating with the VAR, the fourth official. Has gone to speak to Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta. Don't often get referees sticking with the original decision after receiving a recommendation to review it. But we are waiting. Dan Burns talking to
How long does it take him? How long does it take him?
Nick Pope is in the middle of Newcastle's half. Referee with hands on hips, still watching. Pretty much everybody else is next to the referee. They're all looking at the screen. The assistant referee's trying to act as a buffer and keep players away. Newcastle 0, Arsenal 0. BBC Radio Newcastle. St James's Park, with the volume levels increasing all the time as we wait for the decision to be made. Will it be a penalty for Arsenal, or will it be overturned? Jared Gillett now is going to announce the decision. Now he's made the VAR symbol with his hands.
After review, the Newcastle goalkeeper plays the ball and there is no foul.
No penalty. After a review, the Newcastle goalkeeper plays the ball. There is no foul. Mikel Arteta rubs his hands across his face and is laughing. He cannot believe the decision. I don't think he's seen the replays. Look, there's clearly contact between them, but it's clearly the fact that Nick Pope got the ball first.
Yeah, Jacob Murphy will be really the most relieved man here, because it's a really poor back pass.
Same old Arsenal, always cheating, sing the Newcastle fans. It's a bit harsh, but they will be delighted, because Arsenal had started well, could have been ahead, and now Newcastle don't have to face a penalty. Gyökeres is Gyökeres has just lost out in a challenge to Joelinton. He's getting booed. He's done absolutely nothing wrong. He has been taken down. It's just after the ball was played. But if they need a pantomime villain, then, well, let it be him today. And this place is at its best when it's angry, and it's angry. But how do the team need to settle into the match, Ando, as Livramento heads the ball back to Pope?
It's been a lively start. It's been decent from both sides, to be fair.
Burn out of Saka. Is Burn at left back in 19 minutes played? Is it working for you?
I just don't get it. I really don't.
Arsenal fans, I'm sure, will remember the Anthony Gordon goal a couple of years ago. The controversy there, and now they've got another one to be unhappy about. Baltimore challenging with Timber. Physical play in the corner. Newcastle have got it through Gordon, and Joelinton now to Bruno. Has to go back to halfway to Botman. There is, we mentioned it, that these games really have something, some spice, and often controversy, and Arsenal will feel that there is more controversy again. Up to Gordon from Botman. Joe Linton back through for Gordon, but well recovered. Mosquera to clear, then Gordon heads on looking for Baltamada. Bruno's got it, needs to look to the space, and it's on the right, and he picks out a great ball to Livramento. 30 yards out, Tino Livramento. Murphy makes an overlapping run, it's passed inside to Bruno, then it's out to the touchline to Murphy. Rolls it to Joe Linton, edge of the area, on towards Bruno. Arsenal play it back, and Murphy blocks the clearance from Gabriel. They're claiming handball, but it's goal kick only.
No, it's corner kick.
Is it corner? I'm sorry, I beg your pardon. I thought it had hit Murphy and gone behind last. Gabriel's clearance on Murphy, onto the chest of Gabriel. Another Newcastle corner. All but one of them has been on that far side. This is their 5th, 0-0. Sandro Tonali delivers again, headed away by Calafiore. Livramento just helps it down to Gordon, left of centre. Gordon with a high ball to the right corner, looking for Tonali. Calafiore wins it. Bruno's got it now. Chance to deliver across again. Tonali instead played a short pass to Bruno. It wasn't controlled, and Rice clears. Now Gyökeres backing into Murphy. And Saka looking for Gyökeres again, but the Swede can't control. United throw 10 yards from halfway, taken by Livramento, and now Chow and the back four are all in position. Everybody getting back to where they should be playing following the set piece. 22nd minute. Bruno fouled by Rice. Free kick. Bruno along with Baltamada wearing long sleeves today, everybody else in short sleeves. It's quite a mild afternoon still, isn't it?
Guimaraes has got long sleeves on.
Yeah, Bruno and Baltamada.
Yeah, Baltamada, yeah. It's not that cold.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Up to Murphy. Tries to take it down near to the corner. Calafiore's dispossessed him and rolled it inside to goalkeeper Raya. Chow backpedaling, climbs and heads away. Stops Gyökeres getting the ball. Eza for Arsenal now to Zubimendi, moved on to Saka. Timbers inside in the box. Saka goes on the outside. It's blocked by Gordon. And it'll be a corner kick. There's a second ball on the pitch. The assistant referee comes onto the field to remove it as Saka puts the other one down. Raya's on halfway, the goalkeeper. Every black and white shirt in the box. Arsenal, they were noted for their set pieces, lots of goals last season. They've got nobody in the 6-yard box. They've got a couple near the penalty spot, everybody else round the back, but right back. And now Gabriel's in the box, and the players make a move towards the goal. Saka sends it long. Trossard brings it down, controlled for Rice, 30 yards out. Zubimendi back to Rice, further away from goal with that pass. Trossard pulled down by Bruno, free kick, but it's not quite in the final third, maybe just on the edge of it. And they forced Arsenal away from goal there. I'm not sure what they were thinking with that corner kick routine. 0-0.
Well, I don't know, they're thinking of a lot of corner kicks, because when you see them taken.
Eddie Howe is with Jason Tyndall in the technical area. Howe points to some things out that he spotted on the pitch as his players prepare to defend the free kick. They are in a line through the D. Arsenal, they've still got 5 round the back. Now they run across into the middle. Rice clips it in. Gyökeres the target, headed across into the 6-yard box and headed wide at the near post by Calafiore, the pony-tailed Italian defender. Up from the back.
Yeah, angle was always headers. Wrong, wasn't it?
Gyökeres to Calafiore and wide.
Never scoring from that angle.
Nick Pope. It was a really good save, wasn't it, from Eza's shot
save
early on?
Yeah, it was a great save.
Joelinton header forwards, Voltemada challenging with Gabriel. Joelinton's got it back and found Voltemada, good strength, and he's still going, Nick Voltemada. Lovely feet in the corner, there's 2 on him. Arsenal win it back, it's a fair challenge, and clearance intercepted now by Botman, but going to be collected by Saka. Timber up the line, Chow's on the near side with Gyökeres, back to Saka. Newcastle a bit stretched here, very stretched. Rice with Trossard to his left, played in by Rice. Leandro Trossard hits the post. Trossard hits the post at the near side. Newcastle look to counter-attack. Joelinton to Gordon, it remains 0-0. Gordon on his way up the near side, Newcastle's left wing, Voltemada in the middle. Gordon cuts inside, low curling shot straight at Ryan.
Got nothing on it though, did he? It's a poor effort in the end. But they broke with pace at the other end, didn't they? Dear oh dear, how quickly did he move that ball?
Saka's pass, once it took out Bruno, then they had the extra players. Trossard smacked the front of the post and it's come out. Gyökeres chasing this long ball up the pitch. Botman is there first, trying to see it out, and it goes out. And he decides not to take a quick throw. 26th minute. Your assessment of what we've watched so far, please, John Anderson.
It's been enjoyable. There's been plenty to like about it. Ooh, just seeing that again, that's some hit. Nick Pope doesn't move, flies by him, smacks the post.
It's the best Arsenal have played at St James's Park for well, a good couple of years. Last league win was at the end of the what was a couple of seasons ago, 3 seasons ago. It's been a problem coming here for them, but not today. Still 0-0 though in Newcastle, with 4 clean sheets from their 5 Premier League matches so far. Have kept another clean sheet up to this point, but it's been close because Arsenal have hit the post. They've had one that was destined for the bottom corner, brilliantly saved by Pope, and they had a penalty awarded, but the decision overturned after a VAR review and a referee review at the monitor. And we keep seeing the penalty incident on replay screens. Mikel Arteta did look at it because he's got a TV in the away dugout, and he's adamant it should have been a penalty.
Well, he would be.
Exactly. A couple of headers in midfield. It's now at the edge of Newcastle's box. It's come off Tonali for Saka. Burn stops him running into the area. Bruno makes a challenge, then Timber finds Eza. Left-footed shot from Eberechi Eza, off balance just at the edge of the area, blocked and out on the far side. Haven't really got their attacking game going, Newcastle. They've got to have the ball, of course, but counter-attacks...
They haven't had it going all season, right?
Yeah.
Because they haven't scored goals.
But obviously they've not played like this with these players yet, have they? There's not been... they've not had this lineup, this formation, this personnel. Now Arsenal, it's 0-0, about to take a throw. Ricardo Calafiore went to get a towel. I don't know if it's Nick Pope's towel. The referee's run over and confiscated it. That's what he's done. Calafiore sends it into the box. It's a bouncing ball, half cleared. Eza!
Oh, what a save
again! Nick Pope has twice denied Eberechi Eza with brilliant saves. This time diving to his right, mid-height. Firm hands from Pope to push it away. Newcastle 0, Arsenal 0, somehow.
What a save. It's a great strike. Full on the volley. Strong hands.
Anyway, you're not allowed to use a towel to dry the ball. I don't know where he got it from.
Got it from behind the goal.
Same old Arsenal, always cheating is the chant. Again, the dark arts. Newcastle are sometimes accused of that. Employing the dark arts. Arsenal might well be the masters of them, depending on your point of view. Another long throw from Calafiore. It's into the 6-yard box. Chow's header. Eza gave Gordon a nudge. He's still down, Anthony Gordon. It's cleared. No free kick. Zubimendi near to the centre circle. Rice, you listen to BBC Radio Newcastle and the BBC Sounds app live from St James's Park. Brought down by Timber in the corner. Cross deflects behind off Tonali. Arsenal corner kick, very definitely the better side. Looking like a really good team, which we know they are in the opening 30 minutes. They've now got Bukayo Saka on corner kick duty again. On this near side between the Milburn and the Gallagher end. Everybody watching, waiting for the ball to come in. Saka's left foot towards the back post. They've got a player free. It's Trossard headed against Botman. Trossard with a deflected cross. Pope's coming and pats it down and gathers at the second attempt under pressure. Now Pope with a kick. Gordon, look at the pace from Gordon, but Raya is well positioned to clear it out of play, and Gordon certainly put everything into that. Raya's starting position very good, leaving his box to clear. Dan Burns got the ball. Eddie Howe's having a chat with it before he takes the throw. Haven't dealt well with the set pieces, have they? The throws, the corners.
No, it's been. You just feel it could come down to set pieces as well for either side.
Another Newcastle throw. Middle of Arsenal's half this time. Burn to Joe Linton. It's a ball that's reared up and he's not able to keep it. And one back, and here goes Saka in behind Burn, who's trying to keep up with him and has just about got there. Burn, Saka into the box on the near side. Pope dives.
Tell you what, Pope's been brilliant.
Push it behind. It was a shot. It
could be three.
But Dan Burn is on his knees in the area after that lung bursting run to catch up with Saka. That's, I'd say, comfortable for Pope, but it needed
still
saving.
Still going to make it though.
Yeah, absolutely. Whereas the others, the two from Eza, highly impressive. The Newcastle set piece coach Martin Mark is out directing a couple of players for this one defensively, looking at the way Arsenal have set up. It is pretty similar. Players at the back of the 6-yard box, one on the penalty spot, 3 around the area. And Saka again delivers to the back of the 6-yard box, but has beaten them all. So Newcastle didn't really have to do anything there. Maybe the set piece coach deserves the credit.
That's relief. Well, deserves the credit because Saka's overhit the corner.
Well, maybe they were well marshalled in the middle. Nobody could get on the end of it.
Well, nobody in the middle is getting onto that where it landed.
Newcastle 0, Arsenal 0. The away side have had a penalty decision overturned after Jared Gillett thought Victor Gyökeres was fouled, but he looked at the monitor and changed his mind, and Leandro Trossard's hit the post. Dan Burn gets up and heads on. He's in the Arsenal half. Maybe that was the instruction from Eddie Howe for Burn to go forwards from goal kicks. Botman, Gordon was pulled back there as Arsenal headed it clear. Now Burn chipping it in behind. Christian Mosquera across. Oh dear! He sliced his back pass and it's gone straight behind for a corner instead of going to the feet of Raya. He
took a chance.
Picked the ball up, brought it into the box, and the referee's telling him not to delay the restart.
There's nobody there to take it.
Gordon having a word with Jared Gillett. He was clearly tugged back. It was a definite pull of the shirt. Tonali from the left. 34 minutes played. 2 on the edge of the area. Again, Burn and Voltemada close to the goalkeeper. Bruno makes a run front post. It's gone short to Gordon. Back to Tonali. Here's the cross. Looking for Voltemada! Nick Voltemada! On the end of Tonali's cross after the short corner. And the big German gets another goal and another with his head. To get it into the They think there was a foul, but Nick Baltamada has his second Newcastle United goal. And it's Newcastle United 1, Arsenal 0, very much against the run of play after 35 minutes.
Well, I said set pieces would play a huge part in it, didn't I? I said it could come down to set pieces. It's well worked, it's so well worked. They go short. The delivery from Tonali is brilliant. Great header.
I don't know what they are complaining about. There can't be an offside. He's 6 yards out, there's defenders behind him. I don't think Baltamada's actually, there's any contact from a defender on him. It's a little push on Gabriel.
You can't disallow that.
Definitely a goal. Definitely a goal. Do you know what it reminds me of? The Gordon goal 2 seasons ago.
No, it's not as bad as that.
Hang on. When Joe Linton had his arm on the back, same player, Gabriel. Arsenal will scream and scream about a foul, but they didn't get it then and they don't get it there. And Baltamada for Newcastle. Yes, he plays deep, but when the delivery's right, he loves those, and he put it away well. 1-0.
Oh, it's a great header. Great delivery. It's a fabulous delivery. It's a well-worked corner kick. They go short. Arsenal switch off. They don't send 2 people out, and the delivery in from Tonali is so inviting.
The complaints continue. It's going to be an Arsenal corner from the kickoff. Baltamada and Gabriel are there. Gabriel is, referee's wagging his finger and saying to Gabriel, come here. Still complaining and arguing with Baltamada, who had a running battle with Bournemouth's Bafodi Diakite last week after he thought he was fouled and should have had a penalty. Gabriel's now gone away. Jared Gillett, the referee, with goal scorer Baltamada. Newcastle 1, Arsenal 0. Same old Arsenal, always cheating on repeat at full blast around St James's Park. BBC Radio Newcastle and the BBC Sounds app. Corner at the Gallagher end from Rice. Now, having just scored, they have to protect their own goal. Rice to take this one, and we know his delivery is really good. Whipped in towards the back post, Botman heads away. Trossard and Tonali chase it. Tonali's got there before Trossard, who's taken a tumble, and it's out about 40 yards from the goal. They're going to take the throw in a bit further up, actually. I'm sure it went out there, but Timber has it in his hands. And back to Mosquera. And it came about because Mosquera completely miskicked the back pass. Joe Linton putting pressure on now. Mosquera with a good back pass to Raya, and away this time from the keeper. Byrne beats Timber in the air. Bruno on his chest, looking for Gordon, takes it back. Won by Arsenal for Saka from Timber's challenge on Gordon, and Zubamendi, the little midfielder, square to Rice, who's come to get it. Sense of urgency about Arsenal now. They should have been ahead, they played well, but Nick Baltamada has scored for Newcastle United. Timber to Saka. His boots on the touchline. Back inside to Timber. Mosquera to Gabriel. Carries it forwards a few yards. Goes out to the left touchline to Calafiori. Back to Rice. And Mosquera on halfway. In the centre. Rice has got it. Square across the halfway line to Zubimendi. Swept up and out to Saka. Two to take on. Gordon there and Byrne as well. Saka comes infield. Gordon's all over him. No foul. It's come back to Timber. Arsenal still have it. Gordon looks like he's hurt himself in the challenge. Botman on Eza. Newcastle come away with the ball. Now Gordon caught there by Timber, and the referee's got to stop it here, and does, and tells everybody to calm down. Saka wagging his finger at the referee.
He's right as well. That's not a free kick. Gordon just throws himself to the floor and the referee buys it.
I just wonder if it was for the challenge on Saka as well in that passage of play. Gordon's back up.
How is that a free kick?
Yeah, Timber's coming. Looks like he's pushed the ball away from the first replay we've seen, but It's Newcastle's decision. They lead 1-0. Gordon up to Baltimore and back again, laid off for Tonali, who gets away from his man. Ball hits the referee, doesn't it? Newcastle play on. Baltimore on to Tonali, who gave it and then went and looks for Bruno in the penalty area. Bruno back out wide left, inside to Baltimore, holds off the defender. Short ball to Gordon. They've done all that in a tight area under pressure. Tonali clips it in. Arsenal head clear. And Saka now to Trossard. And Botman wins it. He's played it against Tonali and taken Tonali out. And Arsenal with a quick pass up the pitch to Gyökeres, just outside the area. Now into the box with Chow, who defends brilliantly. Gyökeres got a yard of space for the shot, but as he came in again, Malik Chow stayed big and won it back. And Tonali now in possession in midfield. The supporters in black and white are loving this, the desire and the effort. It's such a competitive game again, and it's Newcastle 1, Arsenal 0, Lando.
Yeah, good game. Quality. Tonali on his hunkers, you just hope he's okay.
He might put it out actually, Botman does, because he was off his own teammate, and he just took I don't know if he took it clean in the face, but they just need to check on him. Arsenal are going to bring players across and take advantage of the break in play, which he probably wouldn't have wanted with how the atmosphere is and how Newcastle are in the lead somehow. Wanting to really crank up the intensity even further. Arsenal have played some brilliant football. They've had some big chances. There's the penalty decision overturned, but the only goals come from Nick Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean Pope's been brilliant. It could have been 3 before, but the goal's a peach of a goal. It's so well worked.
BBC Radio Newcastle on the BBC Sounds app, and if you have a smart speaker, ask it to play BBC Radio Newcastle. We'll be with you after the match as well, until about 7, to discuss the game and reflect on what we've witnessed. We've witnessed plenty so far, and there's still 3 minutes now of the first half remaining, then additional time, then the second half. Nick Baltimore, 2 goals for Newcastle United in 5 appearances. Sandro Tonali is off the pitch. He's had a drink from a water bottle. He's going to have to wait to come back on. Arsenal throw the ball back to Nick Pope, and he picks it up. An underarm throw to Malik Chow. Great defending from Chow when Gyökeres might have been in before.
Gyökeres didn't know where he was going, didn't know what he was doing.
Here's Botman. Burn under pressure, it's tight on the near side, back to Botman, and away it goes. Baltimore can't get there, headed away by Gabriel, but speaking Saka, United ball at left back from the throw. Tonali's back on. Burn to Joelinton, header on for Baltimore. It's a bouncing ball, it's pushed back, and Dan Burns got to it first. Sticks it out wide and clips it up the line, but nobody was there, nobody running. Gathered by Raya, then from his hands dropped out at the feet of Rice. Still with Arsenal and England midfielder Declan Rice deep in his own half, up to Saka on halfway. Dan Burn all over him. Saka wins the free kick.
Nearly ran over.
They applied the pressure, but too much pressure. Arsenal have restarted it. 44 minutes play. Newcastle 1, Arsenal 0. Gabriel to Rice, and Calafiori brings it inside, away from Murphy from the far touchline. Zubimendi, who looks like a very good player, doesn't he? Finds the head of Timber, and that's handball. Is it by Saka? Referee gave it. The assistant didn't get his flag out. Edge of the penalty area. Martin Zubamendi, 56 million from Real Sociedad in July.
He looks a player, doesn't he?
Started every match so far. You saw Barcelona's two midfielders, De Jong and Pedri, and the way that they just moved it quickly. Little touches, one-touch passes sometimes. Everything with unerring accuracy, and he's very much in that mould, isn't he?
Yeah.
Spanish international.
7 minutes.
Well, a minimum of 7 minutes. Dan Burn heads on from the free kick from Nick Pope. He was on the edge of the penalty area when he headed it on. Arsenal get it away. Gabriel climbs away from Voltemada. Botman and Joe Linton on his shoulder on the near side, up the line to Burn, who lifts it forwards. Now Mosquera out into the lower section of the Milburn stand. Got William Saliba on the bench, who would normally start. Saliba just signed a new contract with Arsenal this week. Mosquera played in the cup win at Port Vale on Wednesday. It's his place at centre-back. Newcastle, some appeals, not many, for the challenge on Gordon there. Nothing given, and it's cleared, and a United throw in their own half. Leading 1-0 though. Voltemada on 34. It would take them up to 8 and on to 9 points if they were able to win. Just one behind Arsenal, who have 10, but it's not done yet, obviously. But that's the latest, that's a live Premier League table. Into the second minute of the minimum of 7. Raya, ball on the floor, edge of the penalty area, rolled it around under his studs, and then decided to go long to Gyökeres, away by Botman. Rice first to the second ball, Saka onto Timber on his thigh, into the box, carried it forwards well, and slipped, and he's lost it to Joe Linton. Only Voltemada up ahead though. Murphy making a run, Joe Linton finds Voltemada, holds off Mosquera, back to Joe Linton and Gordon, away from one, then away from two, and down from Saka's challenge next to the Newcastle bench. Why would that not be a yellow card? That's what supporters and players are asking the referee. And there's not a lot of contact, but is it simply that, the amount of contact or the lack of?
Well, not every challenge is a yellow card, is it?
No, but just the fact that he stopped the run, the cynical nature of it.
Just so theatrical about it and all, mate.
Yeah. You would say he was looking.
He throws himself, yeah.
And it's a shame, because he would have been in a really great position on his way towards goal. Tonali with the free kick from about halfway. Arsenal header. Livramento with Gyökeres behind him, and Gyökeres has backed in well and used the ball to find Saka. Arsenal have turned it around on Newcastle. He's gone down, Saka.
Oh, this referee's given us everything.
Mikel Arteta at the Arsenal bench cannot believe it. Newcastle allowed to play on, Voltemada turning. Tonali's challenge as Saka drifted inside, nothing given. Eza holds off Voltemada, and then Trossard to Calafiori, 30 yards out. Gyökeres plays it straight to Chow, back to Pope, and it's out on the far side. Newcastle 1, Arsenal 0. But they feel once again they're not getting decisions, Arsenal. Zubamendi just ahead of the centre circle. We've played 4 minutes of additional time. 7 was shown. Calafiori slices his attempted volleyed cross behind. One thing that you would have said, you've probably observed about Arsenal, is that when it doesn't go their way, sometimes it starts to perhaps unravel a little bit. They started the game in great mood with great football, but often you feel like if it's not going for them, if decisions are going against them, it can really start to crumble a bit on the pitch. Still 45 minutes to go, but Newcastle will be happy with where things are right now.
Of course they will.
Whitley Warriors against Paisley Pirates is that fixture. We have had one message that's come in asking, is that Roy Keane on co-commentary? Lighten up, man. I will pass that on to Ando. He's still getting his half-time cup of tea. I'm not quite sure what he'll make of that, because Roy Keane's from Cork and Ando's from Dublin, and sometimes they don't see eye to eye, those two separate parts of Ireland, so I'm not sure he'll be entirely pleased by that message. But the second half is going to get underway very shortly. So far so good for Newcastle United. They're probably going to have to withstand a bit of Arsenal pressure in what's certain to be a fascinating second half, and that second half is coming up in just a tick.
Half-time highlights.
Total Sport Northeast.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Bruno makes a run front post. It's gone short to Gordon. Back to Tonali. Here's the cross. Looking for Baltamada! Nick Baltamada! On the end of Tonali's cross after the short corner. And the big German gets another goal and another with his head. To get it into the right areas, goal-scoring areas. Baltamada can get on the end of them. Arsenal complain about something. They think there was a foul, but Nick Baltamada has his second Newcastle United goal. And it's Newcastle United 1, Arsenal 0, very much against the run of play after 35 minutes.
Total Sport Northeast.
Matthew Raisbeck and black and white legend John Anderson.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
And ahead of the second half, Arsenal will be making a change. William Saliba, the centre-back, who would normally start, has come out in his red and white top and is doing a warm-up with a member of Arsenal's staff near to the side of the pitch. So we would expect him to be on, probably for Mosquera, the summer signing, the young defender. Here come the rest of the Arsenal team, and there's no Mosquera, so Saliba is coming on, and we await the return of Newcastle United. 1-0 up through Nick Baltamada's goal. I don't know, Andrew, if you've had the chance to review any of the big decisions at half-time. Arsenal feeling aggrieved.
No, I think when you see the penalty again, Nick Pope gets a touch on it. If it was at the other end, you'd be aggrieved if it wasn't given. But there you go, that's it. I mean, the goal, there's not enough contact to disallow that goal. It goes down so soft. Where I mean, he's 6'2", 6'3" centre back. Little hand in the back goes down like that.
So that's the Arsenal change. Saliba for Mosquera. So Raya in goal, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel Calafiori, Zubamendi, Rice, Eza, Saka, Gyökeres, Trossard, and Newcastle. Pope in goal, and we were wrong about the lineup, the formation at the start of the match. Pope, Livramento, Chow, Botman, Byrne, Bruno Tonali, Joelinton, Murphy, Baltamada, and Gordon. And it's Bruno, black and white stripes against Arsenal's red and white shirts. He kicks us underway. United shooting down the hill towards Gallagher. End in the first half. In the second half, sorry. And that 45 minutes. Now 15 seconds old as Murphy and Livramento close down on the edge of the Arsenal area. Away there by Calafiori. Tonali wins a header. And Livramento gets turned away from Calafiori. Livramento plays in Murphy, right side of the penalty area. Baltamada surely! Oh! Nick Baltamada off the bar. Eddie Howe puts his hands on his head. I think they've given offside, have they? They've given offside. Must be against Murphy.
Tell you what, he'd be relieved, Baltamada.
Well, it's a let-off for Arsenal, but also it gets Newcastle of a bit of a mess, because Baltamada, it came to him slowly in the box, he had a touch, stabbed it towards goal, clipped the top of the bar. Murphy must have been offside.
Well,
yeah, they did flag for offside. Well, that would have been some start to the second half. Thousands of supporters are yet to return to their seats. Those that are in their seats would have been off them again if Baltamada had hit the net. 1-0 up through his first half goal. United with another throw on the right in their half of the pitch. The clouds have cleared and we've got beautiful blue skies now. We're on BBC Radio Newcastle at St James's Park, Newcastle City Centre. We're also on BBC Sounds for the Magpies perspective on this match. Joelinton with a header on. Gabriel heads away. It bounces. It's Gyökeres and then Tonali lifts it forwards and Voltemada looks to chase. Gabriel to Calafiori on the turn. That's gone out. On the Newcastle near side, the right hand side. Livramento to Bruno, back again, inside, given away. Zubamendi there, knocked down by Gyökeres. Eza stopped by Tonali. Rice towards Trossard, away from sliding challenge from Tino Livramento. Raya lets it go behind, picks it up. Is there anything tactically you think Newcastle can do to make the second half different?
Exactly what's happened at the start of the second half. Yeah. Make it scrappy.
Yeah.
Make it scrappy.
Chow lets the ball run through to Pope, but it's slowed down at the edge of the area and Pope has to clear it first time. Away by Arsenal. Dan Burn plants a header on it. Calafiori back to his goalkeeper. Voltemada and Murphy putting pressure on Raya. Joelinton's got his toe onto the goalkeeper's ball out from the back and played it to Gordon, who's coming from deep. Gordon couldn't take it and they've lost it to Arsenal on that far side. Gordon, it's interesting how he stayed deep when Arsenal were playing it out at the back. Normally he would lead the press, but he didn't. Then got on it from deep after Joelinton won it, but lost it.
Yeah, Arsenal trying to play out from the back, give it away. It's been a scrappy start to the second half. It's what we want. We wanted 100 mile an hour. You don't want Arsenal getting into a rhythm like they got into at the start of the first half.
Playing it across the back, but that back line is high up. It's near to halfway. Saliba to the left. Gabriel Magalhães. The Brazilian's ball. It's a good one. Clipped out to the right wing from the left on the diagonal. Timber. Gets tackled by Gordon, then gets it back. Now Zubamendi for Rice. Only Voltemada ahead of the ball in black and white. Arsenal within 30 yards of Newcastle's goal to the left here. Zubamendi looking right, then looking left, then goes backwards to Gabriel. Plenty of discipline about the shape of 4-5-1. 1-0 lead for Newcastle. Played 5 minutes of the second half. Eza dropped into a different position there to receive it and roll it out to Saka. Inside it comes to Timber, 30 yards out, hits the shins of Joelinton. Saliba first to the ball. Zubamendi. Arsenal, patient build-up. Rice. Zubamendi, centre of Newcastle's half. Tonali's after it. Back to Gabriel. They push up a bit, but Arsenal play it between the lines. Trossard out to Calafiori. Gyökeres goes for the header near post. And it'll be a corner. Or is it? Yeah, it is a corner. Livramento there.
This is what you don't want. You don't want Arsenal to get into a flow again, do you?
The flow and then the routine of regular set pieces like in the first half. Declan Rice, corner kick taker. It tends to be Saka from the right, Rice from the left, both in swinging corner kick deliveries. That's what we've seen and what we'd expect here. Everybody is defending. Voltemada in front of Nick Pope. Arsenal players making their move from the back of the box. Rice's delivery. It's hit Bruno in the middle and then Sven Botman stabbed it clear to halfway. Raya on the diagonal, back in, but too long. Caught by Nick Pope. And they're not booing, they're telling Pope to shoot because Raya's still well out of his goal, but he didn't. So they've gone out to the left. Byrne to Joelinton. Gordon comes short. Back to Chow. And now to the goalkeeper. Nothing silly. Wasn't anything obvious on. Pope with a long pass. Voltemada can't get there. Saliba first to the ball. Big Dan Byrne away. Gordon trying to get after this. It bounces near to Gordon, and Timber touched on by the Newcastle forward. But it's now an Arsenal throw at right back in the 53rd minute. Thrown to Rice, back to Timber, out. Newcastle's ball, an extra noise requested by Bruno. The supporters in the east stand on the far side respond. They sing Bruno's name. Into the box to Voltemada, headed back to Bruno, tries to lay it off to Joelinton. Arsenal play it clear. It's incredible skill from Saka. Then a ball in behind Botman, but Chow is covering, gets the cross, rolls it back to Nick Pope, the goalkeeper. It's a long ball, but Voltemada started offside. Couldn't go for the ball. Raya rolls it out in a different phase of play now. Raya gets it back from Saliba. Newcastle 1, Arsenal 0, edge of the area. Gabriel to Saliba. Bruno's close by. Back to Raya. 4 Newcastle bodies on the edge of the box. Raya decides to miss them out with a long ball. Zubimendi and Byrne. Zubimendi got up well. Great leap in front of Byrne, who's now got it on his chest, and he lifts it away out for a throw. Joelinton dispossesses Eza. Jacob Murphy back of the centre circle. That's a good looking ball by Murphy. There's 2 balls on the pitch. Newcastle playing on. Tonali for Gordon in the area. Gordon rolls it across the 6-yard box, just away from Voltemada. Arsenal with a back pass, which was a bit risky. They've been able to clear. Now Tonali dispossesses Eza, who recovers. He's done superbly well to recover. They've cleared the second ball off the pitch. Eza's pass out to Saka on the far side. Now into Rice, edge of the penalty area. Trouble here with Trossard, and the cross, and Eza over the top. Off balance, went for the spectacular shot on the volley with his left, but it's way over the top.
Yeah, it was behind him, was it? Couldn't dig it out.
All alone on the penalty spot, Eza. What about that Gordon run and pass? Voltemada was close, but not close enough.
Yeah, good ball played across goal, wasn't it? Just rolled straight across the 6-yard box. Nobody coming in on it.
Voltemada, I think, was the sort of corner of the 6-yard box. I haven't seen it again. Gordon rolled it. It was ahead of him. And went across goal. Nobody else able to get the loose ball, as Botman does well for Livramento, and he comes inside and is taken down by Calafiori. Referee reaches into his pocket for a yellow card for the Arsenal defender, which is met with the approval of the Newcastle fans here.
Yeah, I don't think you can have any complaints. I don't think the referee's done bad, actually. I think he's let things go.
And Jason Tindall are both out, and it's Tindall who now has the main responsibility for communication, with it being a set piece. Mikel Arteta is there, grey trousers, black overcoat, clapping his hands. Arsenal coach next to him is calling out instructions, defensive instructions. Tonali with the free kick 30 yards out on the right, rolls it to Murphy. He whips over a great ball into a good area, but it's an Arsenal head. Lovely curl on that one. Not too close to the keeper, but well defended. Gordon now taking on Saka, cuts in on his right, back to Joelinton, goes back on the outside. Joelinton, low shot. Joelinton, very nearly another Joelinton goal after 2 against Bradford in midweek. Cut back outside, went between players and drilled that one cross goal and wide of Raya's left-hand post. It was always pulling away from goal, but it had Raya worried, and from our angle it looked really close.
Yeah, it was a long way wide in the end. As you say, it was always drifting. Always drifting away from goal, but all it needed was a touch, you know. Again, just needed somebody gambling on that. You get a touch and you poke that into the net.
Big cheer there for a Dan Burn header from the left side of defence out on the near side in Arsenal's half. Back to Raya, long for Gyökeres, and there's Gyökeres and Botman in a good battle. Nick Pope leaves his box to clear. Straight to Calafiori. A nice first touch, and now Rice on halfway. Trossard back to Gabriel. Newcastle 1, Arsenal 0. 58th minute, and the goal from Baltimore came on 34. Zubimendi back in the centre circle for the feet.
Looks a good player, doesn't he?
Trossard on the turn. Dan Burn stops his former Brighton colleague playing a cross-field pass to get an Arsenal player in. Burn just got his head to the ball, out for a throw. It's now back in play. Newcastle with Miley, Elanga, Barnes warming up, among others. Trossard in the corner. Trippier and Lascelles are there doing some stretches. Arsenal edge of the final third. Calafiori inside to Zubimendi. Really does keep it moving, as does this man, Declan Rice. Timber to Saka, 2 to take on, back inside to Timber, space to run into, laid off to Eza, sidesteps one, Eza with a ball to the edge of the area, then Zubimendi chips it into the box, and Nick Pope gets down
what a save
to make a really important save at full stretch. Newcastle look to the assistant referee, maybe for offside, but it's corner for Arsenal.
He's having one today, isn't he?
Dinked in.
He's having an absolute blinder.
Then headed down. Eza did so well. Lay off to Zubimendi. Now who got the header? Was it Timber? Might have been the fullback who continued the run into the box. Yes, it was. And Pope, when you're that big, you've got to get down quickly in the corner. Another great save. Arsenal have taken the corner. Zubimendi curling cross, headed into the centre of the box. They've got a player down, then a shot over the top. And then Trossard, who hit the deck, runs after the referee. No complaints from Mikel Arteta, in fairness, on the touchline. And Jared Gillett says no, nothing.
For what?
Trossard continues to shout in his direction. An hour gone, Newcastle lead 1-0. Mikel Arteta's now making the VAR, the TV screen, and a signal with his hands to the fourth official, who shakes his head. I saw him hit the floor, but I don't know what it was about.
No, people just fall all over the place, and as soon as people fall over, the crowd, it's got to be a penalty, it's got to be a free kick.
Still leading 1-0 United here on BBC Radio Newcastle. Back to Raya, Jacob Murphy over and into the middle quickly as Livramento closes down Calafiore. Long it goes. Chow gets his body in the way, gets on the ball, plays it back to Nick Pope. We've had an hour. Another hour of Malik Chow in central defence. Sander, have you liked what you've seen?
Yeah, both centre backs have been excellent today.
Anthony Elanga has come back to the bench on his own. Eddie Howe and Jason Tindall continue a pitch-side conversation. Ball went out from Nick Pope's forward pass. Arsenal throw. Gabriel slammed it forwards. It hit Rice rather than him controlling it, but they've kept possession.
Don't think it was meant for Rice.
Timber up to Saka. Burn and Gordon trying to win the ball back. Gordon's all over Saka. He's held him off. And he's used to that sort of attention. Bukayo Saka, he's dealt with it really well. Now Rice onto Calafiori. Murphy getting back. Missed the other night with an ongoing Achilles problem. Just keeping an eye over his shoulder at Calafiori. Arsenal have gone up the other flank, the right. And it's Timber with a cross. Calafiori's come in and taken a touch on the ball in the box. Out of the area now with Rice. Murphy did have it covered. He was back with him. It's Eza up to the feet of Trossard, onto Gyökeres, but cleared by United. And Arsenal having a spell of pressure here, but still the only goal from Nick Baltimada.
Yeah, it's not the first time today you've said that, is it? Having a spell of pressure.
Go with
scoreline says different though.
It's always the most important statistic. Timber back to Saliba, and every Arsenal player in Newcastle's half. The furthest man back is this one, Gabriel, next to the centre circle to Saliba. It's what you expected might happen, it's what you didn't want to happen. Botman and then Chow, after they look for Gyökeres in the box. Chow's clearance, it's gone for throw. But it's probably the way the second half was going to go. Here at Arsenal again with Rice and Calafiori with support from Trossard close by on the left wing. Zubimendi taken off him by Tonali. Livramento's giving it straight back to Arsenal. Pope comes and tries to land on the ball. Malik Chow didn't think he was going to get there and lifts it out for a throw, which Arsenal have taken. A couple of nervy moments at the back. Trossard to Rice, still on this near left-hand side Arsenal. 64th minute. Zubimendi to Saka, cleared by Botman. Baltimada tries to compete for the ball. William Osula's going to come on. So is Anthony Elanga. They're going to get plenty of speed out there. Baltimada looks absolutely shattered. Gordon's won it back on the far side. Now help from Joelinton up the line, but stayed in, and Arsenal have got it back. Trippier is also going to be introduced. It's going to be a triple change. Arsenal trying to equalise before then. They've lost an edge of the area. Jacob Murphy to Bruno. Murphy carries on his run. Bruno finds him. Jacob Murphy one-on-one with Raya in the area. Left side deflected, and it's a corner. Murphy carried Newcastle's hopes there all the way into the box, and Raya didn't have to make the save because the deflection came in. It's a corner on the left. He puts his hands on his head.
Great break.
Ruining that opportunity, but he did so well. And credit Arsenal and Declan Rice for getting back to him.
Yeah, Rice tracked them all the way, didn't they?
Imagine if they score here. I wonder if they'll change the planned substitutions. It's going to be 3. Here's the corner to the near post. It's flat and cleared away easily by the first defender. It was Tonali's delivery. Gordon's out to it, back on halfway. And rather than playing it to Pope, he sent it long for Byrne to head on. Byrne down at the edge of the area. Newcastle are adamant that should be a free kick. Players, fans, coaching staff, nothing given. It's one you'd want to see again. Chow, great first touch. Then a volleyed pass forwards. Then Burns caught Gabriel. And the referee's given that decision. Arsenal get a free kick. Why did Newcastle not get one? What do you think?
I don't think he's let an awful lot go today, the referee.
Calafiori on Byrne.
Yeah. Had a hold of his shirt.
Anthony Gordon, the first player off. Kieran Trippier is coming on. I think they're going to go with a 5 at the back now, aren't they? Livramento's gone to the left. Jacob Murphy replaced by Anthony Elanga in the second change. And William Osula comes on for Nick Baltimada. 66 minutes now on BBC Radio Newcastle. Nick Baltimada got the winner on his debut against Wolves. don't know if that one will be the winner, but it was a delightful ball in, and he finished it really well with the header.
Yeah, he's played well again today. As I said, for such a big fella, he's got great feet.
He's still adapting to the Premier League, still learning, isn't he? It's still early days. Arsenal have played the free kick. So, yeah, Trippier, Chow. So, Pope in goal, Trippier, Chow, Botman, Byrne, Livramento. 3 centre-backs. Elanga, Bruno, Tonali, Joelinton, who's on the left. Trippier first touches the header. Diagonal ball back to Pope. And Osula up front. 2 goals the other night. He came on and scored against Liverpool. A goal that almost rescued a point, and with 10 men. But a big show of faith in him in a match like this. 1-0 lead. Here's Osula, making life difficult for Calafiori. It's an Arsenal throw. We know he can run, and he can run exceptionally quickly. What else does he need to do?
Score.
In this environment, though, in terms of the play and the tactical awareness, that kind of thing.
Second goal would be nice.
Calafiori lobs the long throw up the line. Chow, that was a push. Nothing given. Couple of headers. The ball's hit Tonali and fallen nicely for Eza. Now Botman gets his head to the ball, stronger than Gyökeres. Dan Burn sent Saka tumbling, nothing given. Livramento, good ball inside to Joelinton, who's looked to play a return pass for Livramento's forward run, but it's cut out. Inside by Arsenal to Gabriel. Mikel Merino's going to come on, the former Newcastle player. 1 season at St James's Park, 2017-18. And Gabriel Martinelli, their goal scorer of their late equaliser against Man City last weekend. He made a change at half-time, remember. Saliba coming on at the back. Zubimendi in the middle of midfield. There's runners in behind. Saka was one of them, headed away by United, only as far as Timber. And Joelinton's after him and the ball. And he gets neither, and Timber's done well and set it up for Saka. Deflected across the box. Botman takes it off the boot of Gyökeres, and Chow sticks it behind. Miscommunication after Botman intercepted, and then they looked a little bit uncertain of themselves. It's going to be an Arsenal corner. It could have been worse.
Yeah, Gyökeres just doesn't. He's not quick enough to react, is he? His touch is awful.
Saka's going off, but he has had an injury. And Calafiori will be replaced by Merino. Martinelli for Saka.
Also coming off, number 33, Ricardo Calafiori, to be replaced by number 23, Mikel Merino.
Well, they liked Mikel Merino when he was here, but Rafa Benitez didn't select him all that often.
He was only a young boy when he was here, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's 29 now. Got 9 goals for Arsenal last season. They often played him as a striker when they were without out-and-out centre forward. Then they went and spent 64 million on Gyökeres in the summer. He's on, and they've got a corner. Newcastle don't have the height of Voltemada. It's to the near post, but when it's flat like that, you don't need anyone to head it away. Kieran Trippier.
You only need someone 4'2" to head that away.
A throw about 15 yards out. 20 minutes remaining. Hope you're enjoying the match here on BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds. It's a long Arsenal throw. A couple of touches on the ball, then whipped across the box. It's Gyökeres with the effort, and a corner is it a corner or is it a
corner?
Corner on the far side. It wasn't clear exactly where it had gone out. Of our angle, but it went behind for a corner. It's off Joelinton, cross goal. Another Arsenal set piece then. Rice puts his left arm in the air with his right boot into the middle of the 6-yard box, into the hands of Nick Pope. Just what Newcastle wanted.
Yeah, goalkeepers all day, isn't it? Middle of the penalty area. Just stretch up, pull it out of the air.
Joelinton comes to get it off Botman, gives it straight back to him. Bruno facing his own goal to Pope. Away, left-footed by the keeper. Livramento's had to come into midfield here and head it on, looking for Elanga and Osula, and it's been caught in the challenge, and Jared Gillett's awarded a free kick for Newcastle. Well, a reminder, we'll be on till 7 tonight to analyse the game. If you'd like to send us a message, text 81333, start your message with BBC, or on WhatsApp, put BBC at the start, and a longer number for WhatsApp, 08000 321 333, 08000 321 333. And if you don't get on tonight, Total Sport North East back tomorrow, and every weekday evening between 6 and 8 on BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds. You can always catch up with Total Sport if you don't get to hear it live through the BBC Sounds app. Nick Pope preparing the free kick now. Middle of United's half. Byrne, edge of the area, Chow's beyond him. It's well defended there by Saliba, on by Newcastle again, then Byrne with another header about 30 yards out, away by Eza. Botman here facing his own goal, he's got two runners and he's defended it, and Livramento clears now. Elanga trying to use that speed. Elanga for Osula, maybe out of the area. Osula gets around the defender and it's cleared. There are some appeals for a foul, I'm not sure for what. Bruno's then stopped the Arsenal counter-attack and punched the air after doing so. Livramento's down again and the match has been stopped. Did you see anything in that Elanga Osula play? No. Livramento looks like he's actually hurt here, might have a significant problem in that I don't think he's going to be able to continue. Joelinton's got his arms around him. Bruno's come to see him. He's bent his left leg and his left knee now. He has had an ACL injury before. It was when he was at Southampton. And we don't know, we don't want to speculate, but they will obviously be aware of his injury history. Is it just the way that he landed there? Was it his right knee?
No, it's his left knee.
It is his left knee, even though he landed on his right foot.
I think he's just got a bang on that by the looks of it. He went up, he landed on his right.
74 minutes on the clock. Newcastle 1, Arsenal 0. Treatment for Livramento, still on the bench. Lascelles, Barnes, Kraft, Willock and Miley. No Hall in the squad. Eddie Howe is now talking to Kieran Trippier, who came sprinting across. Emil Kraft seemingly be the player to come on if they need to make the change. I mean, you never want to lose a player of the ability of Livramento. There's definitely a lot of concern about this. He's sitting up, he's communicating with the medical staff and his teammates. They're just taking every possible precaution, aren't they? Jamal Lascelles is going to come on. Dan Burn will probably have to go to left wing back. Lascelles, who came into the team as a substitute at Bournemouth in the 84th minute last Sunday for his first appearance in 18 months, and they need the stretcher for Tino Livramento, and hopefully this isn't as bad as it looks, but if he has to go off on a stretcher, then there's obviously a degree of severity about this injury, and you just have to hope that whatever it is, it's not the ACL injury again, which he sustained once before.
Yeah, fingers crossed for the boy.
Such a great player and has been superb. For a long time now. He's lifted onto the stretcher. Fans have been calling his name. And this is never the way that any player wants to leave the pitch, or that you want to see any player leave the pitch. Taken up on a stretcher to a standing ovation. Went up for a header, collided with an opponent. Saliba, who leant in, had his arm in the back. Livramento hit the floor, studs into the floor, then he rolled over a couple of times, and now he leaves the pitch on a stretcher.
Yeah, I mean, fingers crossed. It's nothing too serious, but something you don't like to see, is it?
Got his hands over his face. And they're going to take him down the steps, down the tunnel. Jamal Lascelles on for his second Premier League appearance. He was perhaps surprisingly left out the other night. There's an unused substitute in the Cup. He's not in the Champions League squad either, but he's on here in the 77th minute with Newcastle 1-0 up. And they just made the changes, Ando, and now they've got to rejig things because of Livramento going off the pitch. Lascelles wins his first challenge with Gyökeres. He's in the middle, Botman to the left and Chow to the right of the three centre-halves. Martinelli, edge of the area, quick feet, still got it. Digs out across to the back post. Zubimendi. Has that gone out?
No.
Arsenal. We've had one of those before against Arsenal. Cleared by Tonali. Now Raya leaves his box, comes to halfway to send it forwards. Trippier wants a free kick for a challenge. Arsenal have then made a mess of it out of Marino.
Will you win the referee? Every time, man. Come on.
One supporter near us, not happy with the referee.
Yeah, but he's the same every week.
Trippier with a throw at right back. Looking for Osula, away by Gabriel. It's gone out, it's Newcastle's ball. I mean, there's 12 minutes to play, Ando, and Arsenal, the way they started the game was powerful. They were really good. Big chances, penalty, decision overturned by VAR, all of that. Nick Pope's made one really important save low down at the start of the second half, but here's Joe Linton for Elanga. We'll maybe come back to that. Another throw for Newcastle. How well placed are they to get over the line with 12 minutes remaining, 1-0 up?
They're very well placed. I mean, they're 1-0 up. They've killed the tempo of Arsenal. It's stop-start. That's what you want. You don't want Arsenal to get a head of steam up. You don't want a tempo in the game.
Bruno loses it there after the throw. Trippier's won it back. And inside to Lascelles, lifted forwards. Ball for Osula or Elanga to chase, put out by Gabriel.
That's what you want. Just get it in the corner. Just get Arsenal turned round.
That's what I was getting at, because it's a very different game now in terms of the way it's being played. Often it is in the latter stages, but it's not all Arsenal like it was at the start. And you said they need to make it scrappy.
Yeah. You don't want Arsenal getting on the ball and passing it and pinning you in. You want it scrappy. You want it stop-start.
It's one of those TV cameras that's suspended from the roof on wires, and it's following the ball around, and Arsenal with a goal kick which they've taken after the Newcastle throw, but they've got to do it again. Nick Baltamada in the 34th minute. The only goal at St James's. Botman comes to win a clean header, uncontested. Osula was offside. Can't run after it. Now goes to close down Saliba. They've got his pace. They've got Elanga, fresh legs on as well. Back to Raya. Lascelles has done well. He liked that with Gyökeres, and he's won 2 out of 2 challenges so far. Newcastle still with the ball. Joelinton to Bruno, left side of midfield. Back it goes to Botman, inside to Lascelles. First time to Nick Pope. Oh, Pope sold the dummy to Gyökeres. I thought he was going to slip, but we should have more faith in him. Now Joelinton penalised for a challenge on Mikel Merino that sees the Spanish international on the floor. Eza in behind, Gyökeres, big chance, Botman sliding tackle, and then Newcastle scramble it behind for a corner. There's a goal kick.
Gyökeres is just...
The second challenge came in and it went out of Gyökeres, who looked like he was in for Arsenal's equaliser potentially, onside, edge of the box, one block, and then the other. I think he's took the second shot and he's played it against his teammate Martinelli.
Just nowhere near, is he?
36, Martin Zubimendi.
Martin Zubimendi replaced by
Martin Odegaard.
the Arsenal captain Martin Odegaard, who been carrying a shoulder injury since the early weeks of the season. The Norwegian who scored a late winner in a pre-season friendly when these two met in July. Singapore comes on 8 minutes to play, still 1-0 Newcastle. Dan Burn having his shirt pulled, heading it on, Odegaard away. Joelinton header forward, straight to Odegaard, into the action, gives it away to Botman. He just puts his foot through it, but it's dropping at the edge of the area, and Elanga's onto this maybe. Elanga with the defender, and a great recovery from Gabriel, but Elanga made life very hard for him there, and Bruno's all over Rice, back inside to Raya. This is what the crowd love, the high press and the intensity from Newcastle. Arsenal come away with the ball. That's a heavy challenge there by Osula. I think he's going to get a yellow card. Joelinton gets a yellow card on the right, but they're ruffling feathers and roughing up Arsenal, and that's what you have to do to them. Elanga, goodness me, I mean, you're a defender, if you've got somebody like that running at you, Gabriel got away with it, but...
Right in the light, though.
Still got the 1-0 lead, Newcastle United. It's going to feel like a long 7 minutes till we get to the end of the 90, and then who knows what will be added to it. Keep listening to it all here on BBC Radio Newcastle. We'll bring you every Newcastle United match live. They're also on the BBC Sounds app. Odegaard, left wing with Trossard through the legs of Trippier. Rice in the penalty area, behind off Chow. Harvey Barnes has been warming up and comes back to the bench. No suggestion of another change just yet though. Rice, set piece. A short one to Eze, and Odegaard back out to Rice. He sends in a delivery, it's there! It's a late equaliser from Arsenal, and it's Mikel Merino, the former Newcastle player. And Newcastle scored from a very similar corner, worked short and put in for Baltimore in the first half. Arsenal with a short corner there, and Merino up, and he headed it across goal and inside the far post. In the 85th minute, Newcastle United 1, Arsenal 1.
We talked about Arsenal switching off from a corner. We've switched off there and they've gone short. Ball whipped in, it's a great header. Goes in off the back post. Whip ball in by Rice. A lot of pace on it. Just gets above Botman, doesn't he?
Well, they were 6 minutes plus additional time away from victory. Now it's 1-1 in a match that Arsenal, well, first half Arsenal dominated. Can Newcastle get their noses in front again? They want a free kick for a challenge on Bruno, but he's got back up, edge of the area. Bruno to Elanga, Anthony Elanga. Could that be handball? Oh, big appeals for handball. Referee says play on. Trippier to Elanga again. Tonali back to Trippier. Tonali's gone down, Bruno's got it, they're on this near side, close to the penalty box. Bruno turning, Elanga to Trippier, back through for Elanga, here's the cross. Dan Bird, right side of the area, lifts it over into the middle. Osula and Saliba chase, the Arsenal defender has it. Osula gets between man and ball and wins a throw. I wonder if they had a case for handball, the referee says wait. It was Elanga's shot. Oh, it's right up there and it's hit the arm.
That's a penalty.
That's got to be.
Got to be a penalty.
It's right up there and it's hit the arm. Oh dear me, VAR is having a proper look. That's not within the natural silhouette of the body. It's in an unnatural position. Obviously it's got to block.
It's a penalty.
That's got to be given. It hasn't been given yet, but surely that has to be given. Elanga, and then that arm it's so far up where the ball then connects with it.
I mean, he slides in and his body momentum takes his arm up in the air, but it hits his arm. That's a penalty.
If this isn't given, well, I mean, Arsenal felt unlucky in the first half that theirs was overturned. Jared Gillett's still waiting, telling players to get away. Darren England is the VAR.
No, it's not given.
What? No handball. Now the referee's coming over to the touchline. What possible reason could there be for that not being given?
I tell you why, because it was foot to hand.
Did it touch it, go up another part of his body?
Yeah. It hit his foot and bounced up onto his arm.
Jason Tyndall's been yellow carded. Arsenal are going to make another change. Miles Lewis Skelly is coming on for Leandro Trossard. Well, one didn't go Arsenal's way, the one in the first half. That one did. Didn't see a touch from the boot.
It was a tackle. It was a tackle. He tackled and it bounced up and hit his arm.
Same player?
Yeah.
Right. You've seen it back more times than I have. So in that case, that can't be given, although they've got to throw from it. Burn into the box. Big Arsenal header. And this is where they've got to watch. Burn with a cynical foul. He gets a yellow card, stopping Martinelli on the counter-attack. 1-1, 88th minute. Tino Livramento, who's been taken off on a stretcher today, got penalised for that in Paris in the Champions League, but it was different in UEFA competitions then. In the Premier League, the rules being if it hits one part of your body onto the hand or the arm, then it doesn't count as a penalty. Raya with the free kick. Trippier heads away. Osuna was on his heels. Arsenal send it forwards again. Another Trippier header. Chow out of the box. Eza onto the chest of Bruno. He wins a free kick in the defensive third, and Mikel Arteta's laughing at the decision, which he once again doesn't agree with. Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall pointing forwards. Jamal Lascelles goes into the attack for this. Dan Burn right
Here we
back.
go, lump it in there.
Minute to play. Be a good few minutes added on. Arsenal got back level. Can Newcastle go and win this? Lascelles, they're saying he's held, but there's always holding, isn't there? And nothing is given. Saliba there with a long clearance. Gyökeres misjudged the bounce of the ball. And Chow has it, leaves it for Burn to take the throw. 30 seconds and then the numbers board will be presented, or we might even get it early. Anthony Taylor.
No, you can't do that.
Started to lift it up, didn't he?
You can't give it early.
15 seconds remaining of the 90. 1-1 on BBC Radio Newcastle. They haven't taken the throw yet. Burn up the line looking for Osula to try and run behind Saliba, and Osula has got the better of him, but the referee says it's fouled. Saliba. The home fans don't like that. 8 minutes added. A minimum of 8 minutes. Harvey Barnes is going to be brought on for part of the additional period. Odegaard back to Gabriel. If you can't win, don't lose. And Arsenal will be looking for a second goal. It's been another big afternoon at St James's Park. They don't want it to end the way the Liverpool game ended. Lewis Skelly on the near side as Barnes waits to come on. We've played the first of the 8 minutes. Trippier with another header clear from the edge of the penalty box. Collected by Lewis Skelly, the 19-year-old. Eza brings it out to the left. Now Odegaard turns in the centre of the Newcastle half. Sula closing down, he's the nearest player to the ball. It's being passed around the back line by Arsenal, but they're all in the Newcastle half. Gabriel to Lewis Skelly. On the right now, 1-1. 2 minutes of additional time played. Through ball to Gyökeres in the area. Throws himself down. Botman's made a mess of the clearance. He's run into Timber. Joe Linton chests it. Then Tonali away, but not really properly clear. Now Tonali's got another chance to get rid. Arsenal have kept it in though on the far side. And Timber looked as if he was going to cross. Dummied. Back it goes to Rice. They're 35 yards out now. And it's a clock that ticks slowly when you don't have the ball. And Newcastle don't have it. Gabriel, that's long. Burn could let it run, but Timber's there. He plays it inside to Martinelli. Gabriel Martinelli, edge of the area for Rice, up the line to Timber. Rice sends it over. Pope gathers now. Elanga on his bike. Can Pope find him? Goes for the long throw. And Osula's after this. Elanga was down. Is the referee going to bring it back? Yes, he is, because there's no advantage. Nothing else, just the free kick, and Harvey Barnes comes on for Joe Linton.
Substitution for Newcastle coming off, number 7.
93 minutes and 20 seconds.
To be replaced by number 11, Harvey Barnes.
Imagine if he gets the winner. What an inspired substitution that would be. 1-1 on BBC Radio Newcastle. Trippier, Pope's not taking this one, it's close to halfway. To the edge of the box, there's Dan Burn. They've got hold of his shirt. Elanga lifts it back in. Lascelles heads into the centre, but Raya catches. Here at Arsenal, Burn's got to be careful, he's on a yellow card. And there's just about enough bodies back, but it's a quick Arsenal move up the pitch. Rice to Lewis Skelly. Trippier in front of him, back to Rice. Sula's back there. Now Odegaard. A through ball, or Lewis Skelly, left side of the area, brilliant defending from Chow. It's a corner. Arsenal thought they'd won it. Mikel Arteta drops to the floor. He looks shocked that didn't go in, but Malik Chow got to Lewis Skelly just
great defended. It was great defended
to roll it in to a teammate, or maybe Martinelli was in the centre.
Yeah, he's trying to pull it back square. Chow gets across. Gets sliding in. It's real good defending.
Played almost 5 minutes of the minimum 8. Arsenal corner. Rice headed away from the goalkeeper, then following in Martinelli headed away on its path towards goal. Oh dear, that's a nervy moment. There could be another one here. It comes in. No, Nick Pope, comfortable claim, wants to go quickly again. It's not a good clearance, not a good ball forward, straight to Lewis Skelly. Elanga was up the right wing, Osula was in the middle, but it went to a red and white shirt. Now Lascelles has to head Rice's cross behind. Arsenal have another corner on the right. 95 minutes, 24 seconds to be precise. They are clinging on a bit now. It was Lascelles who blocked the shot from the previous attack with a header. Left-footed corner kick dropped into the 6-yard box. Arsenal have scored. Nick Pope got stranded, and Arsenal have turned it around to potentially win in injury time. And Newcastle, like against Liverpool here at St James's last month, have been hit by a big blow right at the end of the game, and it looks like Gabriel, who's got his head to the ball, and they can't believe it. Against the run of play they led for so long, and 2 late goals for Arsenal have tipped this one upside down. 97th minute, Newcastle United 1, Arsenal 2.
Well, it's good delivery, isn't it? We knew that they were strong from set pieces. You just get something on it. That's 2 set pieces, 2 corner kicks, 2 goals for them. Well, all 3 goals have come from corner kicks. We said that set pieces would play a big part.
Is he the player just in front of the goalkeeper? Gabriel, oh no, it's Saliba. And where does Gabriel come from? It's just ahead of the 2.
Yeah.
Arsenal have had some bad days here in recent times, and they've had a lot that they've been complaining about today in terms of decisions. Maybe their team's moved on. This was a fixture Newcastle always used to perform poorly in, particularly when Arsenal were always at the very top. Last couple of years have been different. This is going to be a big win for Mikel Arteta's team, who would go second. They've sent it long from the goal kick. Bruno's got it at left back, gives it to Nick Pope. It's only 30 seconds of the 8 minutes remaining. Pope helped on by Byrne. Barnes on the chase. It's not over. Harvey Barnes trying to get in. Declan Rice has used his strength and dispossessed him. Malik Chow with a header for Bruno now in the middle. Bruno wins a free kick off Eza. Mikel Arteta complains again. Nick Pope's asking for permission either to take the free kick or go forwards, but they've said no. Trippier's going to take it. The 8 minutes are up. This would be probably their last chance to rescue a point. Into the box it goes. Oh, it's loose, and it isn't clear again, and it's so away from goal. Where will it go? Throw next to the corner flag. Difficult to follow. Ball was just bobbling around. Referees said wait before they take the throw. I don't know what they're looking at. Is there a possibility of a foul maybe, or a handball? I don't know. Now they can take the throw. Pope is on halfway. They haven't sent him forwards. Headed on by Byrne and away by Arsenal. Now Pope has to go and get the ball, but that's the last action. Newcastle United beaten at home in injury time for the second time this season in the Premier League. Dramatic disappointment. Arsenal turned it around after it looked as though they were going to record an impressive victory. It got away from them with the late equaliser from their former player Mikel Merino in the 84th minute, and then in the 96th minute Gabriel Magalhaes, the header from the corner. Arsenal have won by 2-1. Newcastle, who led from the 34th minute to the 84th after Nick Voltemada's header, lose for the second time in the league this season. 1 win, 3 draws, 2 defeats from their opening 6 matches. They stay 15th. It's a horrible way to lose, John Anderson, even though we were really impressed with the way Arsenal played in the first half.
Yeah, Arsenal were very good first half. Probably led against the run of play, but just defended so grittily, so good, real good shape. We said during commentary and before the game that it would come to set pieces. Set pieces would have a big part to play in the game, and all 3 goals came from them. You know, ours is from a corner. Their 2 are from corner kicks. Just so important to keep your concentration. Stay with who you're supposed to mark. Stay with runners. Especially late on in games when you get tired and you get mentally tired as well. But full credit to Arsenal, I suppose they kept going right to the death, but it's a harsh way to lose.
Lots of big decisions in the match, lots of activity on the touchline, referee involved in plenty. Arsenal penalty decision overturned in the first half. Newcastle thought they were going to get one, and we did initially, but you saw it back. Elanga blocked by Gabriel, and you said it hit the defender's boot and then onto his arm.
Yeah, it was a tackle. He slid in to block it, it hit his foot, bounced up, hit his arm, and under them circumstances you can't give a penalty. It's not deemed as handball. How it's not deemed as handball I do not know, because the ball could then go anywhere, but they're the laws of the game. Some of the laws of the game are baffling at times, and that most definitely is one of them.
Arsenal supporters continue to celebrate at the top of the Leazes End. Newcastle make their way around the pitch. The visiting players and manager Mikel Arteta are on their way up the tunnel. It's been in many ways a challenging start to the season on and off the pitch. Only one Premier League win, a few clean sheets, but things are changing, aren't they, in terms of the team, the players that are in it. It might take time. It's a painful way to lose, but it does feel like obviously they're yet to settle on something, aren't they? They've got players out as well. There's lots of changes every week as they manage the different competitions.
Yeah, look, it's something we spoke about. It's about getting that balance right. Defensively, we look sound, but it's getting that balance right at the other end. You know, it just isn't there at this moment in time, and it's something to work at. And the problem is, he can't get on the training ground to work at it because of the amount of games that we've got. But that goes with the territory. If you're in these competitions, you don't get the time on the training pitch that you would wish for.
Next match is in Belgium on Wednesday. Union Saint-Gilloise away, 5:45 kickoff. That's a big game. They need a result in the Champions League, don't they?
Yeah, it is a big game now on Wednesday, and then obviously you've got Forest here next Sunday. So look, games come thick and fast. They are what they are, but you've got to play them. You know, you want to be. If you're successful, you're in these competitions. You're playing all these games. So we'll just build up for Wednesday now.
We'll be with you till 7 here on BBC Radio Newcastle. John Anderson will stick around. Simon Pride will be back in a moment. If you want to send us a message on X, it's at BBC Newcastle. Text 81333 or WhatsApp 08000 321 333. WhatsApp, remember, 08000 321 333. If it's a text or a WhatsApp, put the letters BBC at the start. We'd like your views, please, if you have a moment, on Newcastle's match against Arsenal. They led for most of it through Nick Baltimore's first half header, but two late goals from Mikel Merino and Gabriel Magalhaes, both headers from Arsenal set pieces, turned it around at St James's Park, and it's finished. Newcastle United 1, Arsenal 2.
Anna Foster, weekday mornings from 10.
She became the first person in the world with a stoma to swim the channel. But if you thought that would be that, you don't know Jill very well. Because no sooner was that challenge finished than she was planning another one. Tell us what it is. I'm going up Mount Kilimanjaro with Liz and 14 other amazing women, many of whom have got stomas or have got a traumatic birth history, or both. 5 days up to Africa's highest peak, and then it's sort of a 2-day tumble back down the hill. Wow. And it will be, because coming down is going to be harder than going up.
Anna Foster, weekday mornings from 10.
Just ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Newcastle.
And this is Simon Pride at St James's Park. We're on air until 7 o'clock this evening. John Anderson, former Newcastle fullback, staying with me until 7. So if you'd like to have your say, send us a message, 08000 321 333. Start your WhatsApp with the letters BBC, 81333 on text, again beginning BBC, and we'd love to read out some of your messages before we go off air at 7 this evening. Razor off to speak to Eddie Howe, possibly a player as well. You will hear that reaction as part of Matt's breakfast show tomorrow morning, and of course on Total Sport tomorrow night, when we will dissect this afternoon's game further. So Newcastle beaten by 2-1 in the end. I have to say, Andrew, I'm probably partially to blame. I was speaking to our colleague Adam from BBC Look North, sitting next to me here in the press area at St James's, and it was my feeling that Newcastle had defended so well. I was starting to think that Arsenal were running out of ideas, running out of steam, and they got that corner. I said to Adam, do you know what, they don't even look like scoring from set pieces this afternoon. That was the kiss of death, because then they scored from 2. But I really did think that Newcastle had seen off the worst. I thought Newcastle played well in the second half, a goal up, and they defended that lead well, and actually had a bit of threat still the other way as well. What was it, do you think, that just was the difference between the sides in the end?
Well, we said beforehand, Simon, that set pieces would probably play a big part in the game, and
Yeah.
it did with all 3 goals.